called some people, used best practices compared with what other countries had in place, and then they came up with it. Like I said, it has been ready since last year. Implementation is slow. That's a Nigerian factor. They said the airlines are weak, and they might probably not. They probably don't want to kill them by.
But they're killing the passengers.
Not by applying the law to applying the law.
They're strangulating us passengers. I mean, yeah, they claim to be weak.
Yes, I think like I said, it came out last year. It's about a year now. I think that's enough time for the airlines to get braced for the new impact. And with the publicity coming up on Friday, I expect the passengers to now know what their rights are. That's why they are coming up with that program on Friday, so that everybody will know you have a right and this is what you are supposed to get. But like I said before you are qualified for that right, you must have bought a confirmed ticket. You must get to the airport early, check in your baggage, disclose the contents of your luggage, and be courteous to both passengers, agents, and other airline staff. All those things are necessary. If you have a rebate ticket or a free ticket, you are not going to benefit from the regulation.
Is this also going to be is this stipulated in this Bill of Rights? How passengers should conduct themselves?
Yes, it's in there. It's in there.
Because we also raised the fact that they're already applying this.
Surprisingly, I think the package tour operators, I mean, those who travel on holidays as a package travel, that's what those category of travelers were excluded. In other claims, they are part of the regulations. That is excluded now, and I think maybe NCL has to tell us why that is.
Remember the no-show fee. The airlines applied their own Bill of Rights.
on the no-show fee.
they religiously stick to it. But the passengers have nothing to follow. They complain to the consumer section. Some don't even know if the consumer aspects exists, let alone complain to them. Yes, I can say that authoritatively, but even though some people tell you, well, it's there, we complain, and they're doing their best, but look, these things are sometimes neither here nor there.
Yeah, you see, the Nigerian process, I found out that it takes somebody to complain, and you don't end that complaint. You keep. In other places, yes, once you complain once, it takes off from there. But in the Nigerian claim, what you have to do is after complaining, you follow up. If you follow up and you get tired, maybe you probably have to engage a lawyer.
They could be there seeing you suffering that damage or injustice, and they don't say anything, so you haven't complained.
So I think what we should work towards now is implementation. Maybe once they start implementing and the first airline gets that sanction, maybe people will say, no, well, this is for real. The regulation has been there. Like I said, I've not seen implementation. I've not seen any airline that has been fined or punished based on any part of the regulation. Probably after Friday, when the whole world is now notified that yes, Nigeria is ready, or is it join the other League of Nations in giving the appropriate Bill of Rights for all Nigerian passengers, maybe the sanctions will follow.
Because the other one,
I said, okay,
yeah, sorry to butt in there, because the other one you raised, which is about the VIP movement, is something that we should also work on, because the rights of the air passenger as well, maybe as the airline operators. So many times Nigerians have actually been taken to neighboring Cotonou because of the VIP movement, and we all know the risk involved.
I know the VIP movement is a cost implication.
Twofold?
It's twofold now. One is in the air, and the other one is the one that's on ground. Probably if they block the road and you, the passenger, cannot get to the airport, and even the pilot operating the flight are all delayed, because you know what happens is once they are coming, they are probably have to block the road, and maybe probably the aircraft has not left Abuja.
You know that's why
we're all stopped.
That's why they say
these are areas that I said we need to look and address.
You know, when you mentioned that part you mentioned about the passengers conducting themselves right and all of those, we still go through the traffic. We go through that blockade. But when we don't get there early, we pay the no-show fee. So why should we also now be required to do all of those before we can say we have to latch onto our rights? So what's good for the goose should be good for the gander.
I'm only just highlighting that these are areas that we need to look at.
Well, you've been in the sector. You've been in the sector. If you were to proffer a solution to this VIP problem in our airports, what would you be saying to them?
You see, for the VIP movement, it's not something you and I can decide. It's pure military and security thing. But what I ask them is, does this happen in other climes? Do they just
because we have to look at the frequency, because the frequency with which you hear VIP movement in the country is huge. It is worrisome. I mean, people have actually gone to other parts of the world to the extent that maybe in a week you've been, flying for, let's say, 10 times in a week from states to states, and you don't get to hear VIP movement. But you come back home, the first aircraft you bought, you hear VIP movement, and you held up.
Probably in those states we're talking about,
they don't have
the
VIPs.
only VIP they have is their Mr. President. In Nigeria, there's so many VIPs.
So in other words, then we have to look at the list of what makes VIP.
Or what makes a VIP, right? And at times, probably, again, the agencies might just use the VIP movement to hide some of the
that is where the NCA comes in, because if unnecessarily the aircraft has refused to actually comply with some of these takeoff and perhaps landing where you should have. Well, I don't think anyone would want to stay up there in the skies, because they know, it's quite expensive to be held up there in the skies.
Yes, yeah.
So who pays the operator when they're held up there in the skies for VIP reasons, or maybe a delay in taking off?
When almost all the airlines are owing those agencies. So I can tell up to this moment, I've not seen any airline that said, okay, we are going to cut to get remedies from any of these agencies who have not performed well. So because
it looks like a barter arrangement.
Yeah, so if you're owing, how can you come out and say, yes, already barter arrangement to cover your... So if you're owing on the other side, how would you come out and fight for right? Yes, you're very right. I think the airlines can make some complaints formally, maybe take it to court to get some remedies, but they really, where's the moral right to go when you know you have not met up your own part?
So they can't come to equity?
On the trade, they cannot come to equity, my brother.
Wow.
Again, another important thing I want us to know is that the Bill of Rights is under economic regulations, and the ministry, under the new policy, they are setting up a new unit, a new body, to the Nigerian Economic Regulatory Unit. It's going to be an independent body to handle economic regulations. That is where this new regulations and the parliament would be under. So I just look forward if they could quickly hasten that process to make that body come on board.
Yeah, but wait,
provided that body is not going to be under the ministry. It must be independent. But once it's made to be under the ministry, it's going to kill the effectiveness and the economic regulations. Because what we've noticed in the past was that NC has been so burdened by safety and security challenges, and have let economic regulations to the detriment of passengers and the detriment of you and I.
Economic regulations such as what? The rights of passengers.
Yes, and
that's like the consumer section.
Yes, they're all under the NCA right now. But now, under the new policy, aviation policy coming out now, they are trying to pull the economic regulations out of it. And if this comes out, if it can be implemented as put in that policy, beautiful policy. But if it's going to be an appendage under the ministry, then we would have a problem. We're going back to square one.
So, to set that up, do they have to legislate?
Yes, they need to repeal some laws now in place now within the NCA before, and they need the Senate to do that. It's after that they can now set up the unit.
What kind of laws?
I think that an enabler of setting the NCA up, they need to repeal them because the economic regulations is part of the NCA, so they need to get that out before they can set up that unit, and they should just be fast about it.
Even though they may not be pointed about it, but it does suggest that it's a failure on the part of NCA in the consumer section if they're going to set up another body to take care of all of this, because that's been neglected.
Well, I don't want to use the word failure, but they've not been
a synonym.
Maybe look for it. Look for another word. I don't want to use the word failure, but something it might be close to it. It might be close to it, but not. I don't want to use the word failure.
But who knows? All of this at the end of the day.
Well, but I sincerely support the economic regulations leaving the NCA. We're not an independent body, so I think that body will even help us, because look at the country like this. How ITV went down to DSTV. Now, DSTV have brought good TV to drive start times, and virtually nobody is saying, no, you cannot have DSTV and Go TV. One of them must leave one for another organization, so that you ginger competition. I just hope the economic regulations will come. Maybe that will help us to develop that power to protect consumers. Because when the regulation is there, consumers get better fares, they are adequately protected, and better experience and comfort.
Perhaps maybe we should also be talking about attitude, or should I say, professionalism when it comes to some of these people who drive such laws implementation-wise. Because if you look at it, if you compare the frequency with which you get some delayed flights locally to international flights, you just realize that, well, you hardly would see any international flight delayed